Welcome to the Disney Wedding Podcast. This show is brought to you by Carrie Hayward's Fairy Tale Weddings Guide, the only guidebook and bridal organizer tailored exclusively to Disney's fairy tale weddings at Walt Disney World. I'm Carrie Hayward, and each week I feature Disney wedding updates, money-saving tips, and interviews with wedding vendors and real Disney couples. I also cover honeymoons, anniversaries, and engagements at the Disney parks and resorts. Join me now as the Disney Wedding Podcast celebrates romance at Disney destinations. Today on the Disney Wedding Podcast, I am speaking with Disney couple Maddie and Lou Rossi about their wedding at GM Lounge in EPCOT with a reception at American Adventure Rotunda in EPCOT. I thought you guys would be interested to hear how they chose these locations and how they planned everything and how it all turned out. So welcome, Maddie and Lou.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having us on.
Thanks so much for being on the show today. I always like to start at the very beginning and find out how you guys decided that you wanted to have your wedding at Disney.
We both love Disney, but I always knew I did ever since I was a little girl. I was never like the type to be like fantasizing about my wedding, but I always knew that I wanted it to be in my favorite place, which is Walt Disney World.
Got it. And then how did your friends and family react when they found out where the wedding was going to be?
We got total mixed reviews. We had some people jump up and down and say, oh my God, can't wait to book this vacation. And we had plenty of eye rolls and shaking of the heads as well.
A lot of people kind of expected it, though, too. I mean, they kind of knew.
How many guests did you invite, and how many were able to make the trip?
We invited 130 people, and we ended up having 100 people.
Wow. Did you set up a room block for your guests?
We did. We did a room block only at Disney's Beach Club Resort.
Oh, that's interesting. Did you just know that that's where people were mostly booking, or you offered them a couple of hotels and that was the only one they chose?
Well, we thought that that would probably be the best location for the wedding planning in general. We knew we were going to get ready there. We knew that we were definitely staying there, and we wanted to create an opportunity for our guests to be able to reserve a room. We were really worried because technically our wedding was the night before Easter, so we knew it was going to be a really busy holiday week. So we wanted to just secure a little bit of room space if needed.
Got it. Now, how did you choose the day of the week and time of day for your event?
We always knew that we wanted to do a weekend. I always knew I wanted to definitely do a Saturday just to give, because we're from New Jersey. We wanted to give our families and friends time to come, like to travel, to fly in and out. So we always knew a weekend, but I know you're a teacher, so.
Yeah, so I teach 8th grade, and it was thankfully right in the middle of my spring break. So that limited the amount of time I technically had to take off. And it allowed for a lot of my friends and family that are also teachers to make the trip with ease.
That's wonderful. And I take it the time of day was dictated by your venues that you chose?
Yeah, we were pretty much beholden to the time frames of the GM Lounge and the American Adventure Rotunda. And we didn't want to split it up. We considered that at one point, doing an early ceremony and then a later reception. But I know personally, we knew we wouldn't want to do that. It would be a long, long day for everybody, and especially for us.
Okay, got it. Now, how did you choose GM Lounge for your ceremony and American Adventure Rotunda for your reception?
Ceremony, I love Spaceship Earth. That was my favorite ride growing up. We always had to go on. We always made a point to go on several times when we'd go to Walt Disney World. So I knew I wanted like something involving that somehow. And then we both always thought that we wanted, if we're going to have over 100 family members travel to Disney World, we didn't want to have like a hotel setting for our wedding because we figured if you're going to travel, we want to give you our full park experience. Like we're park people. Like we go a decent amount. So we wanted to give them like kind of a day at the park with us almost. And that venue just had a spectacular, beautiful view. Like I'm just still so obsessed with it. And our reception, we picked America because Lou is a teacher.
So I teach American history, and we go in the American Adventure often. I can't promise I always stay awake through the American Adventure show. However, it is definitely something we always go in and check out. And we just loved kind of the open space. We loved had like the dance floor as the center of the attention. And we kind of just imagined immediately once we saw that was an option that this just had like a grand and, hate to sound corny, a grand and miraculous atmosphere for a reception.
That's awesome. Now, did you guys use any outside vendors for the portions of your event that you were able to?
We did use a lot of outside vendors. We ended up doing the route for our photographer, Nate and Jency. They were awesome. Love them.
Yeah, shout out to both of them. They were fantastic to work with. I think we heard most by far about our videographer and photographers. Not a single person went without talking about how great the four of them were.
Yeah, so we had Nate and Jency for photography, and then videography we had Heart Happy. So we had Kim and your buddy, Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle, they were both great, but like Kyle just immediately was like one of the bros. So, like everyone felt like we knew him for like 5 years after about 5 to 10 minutes of hanging out with Kyle.
Yeah, and then we also did use for day of coordination Martell Event Services, and I believe it was Samantha. She was awesome as well. You never even knew she was there. I told her that at the wedding. I'm like, you are like a wedding ninja. Like, you go behind the scenes and you do everything for us and you make everything beautiful and amazing and you make sure it's exactly what it's supposed to be. And it made our day go seamlessly.
That's wonderful. How did you guys choose your officiant?
So my officiant is my Aunt Tracy, and we've joked for years that she's kind of just like the fairy godmother for everyone. Like every niece and nephew she has, every significant other that comes into the family, like they instantly just connect and can sense like the love that Aunt Tracy puts into everything. And we just kind of knew that if there was one person that would just put everything out on the line for that, I think Aunt Tracy was a great fit for that.
Yeah, she was awesome. She was perfect. So we ended up going with family for that personal touch.
Wonderful. Did you guys add any kind of entertainment to the ceremony or the reception?
We did. So we had, for the ceremony, we had, a violinist play like all the processional music, and he was awesome. And then for the reception, we had Mickey and Minnie come out, which was amazing. So cool.
Did you choose special outfits for them?
We did. We picked the tuxedo, I believe, and Minnie had like a beautiful wedding gown. I'm like, this is so cool. How often are you going to be able to say that you saw them in like wedding attire? So we ended up going with that.
That's great. Do you have any menu items or cake flavors from the reception that you would recommend?
All of it.
So I'm not a sweets person. So when it came to picking cake and stuff, I wasn't the most hands-on participant. However, I left that night obsessing over the churro crunch. That was awesome. That was the only piece of wedding cake I actually got to taste that night. That was the piece that we like gave each other during the ceremony, or like the cutting the cake. And that was really good. As for menu items, man, every single person obsessed over the bao buns. We love them from Satuli Canteen. And I think every person we saw was like, oh my God, those cheeseburger bao buns were so good. And I kind of wish we could have more, not going to lie.
We ended up doing that for our cocktail hour, and it was like a special upgrade. And I'm so glad that we did, because everybody did rave about them.
Ooh, the cheddar cheese soup.
Yes, that was
from
so good.
Canada.
Yes, love that.
That was another big hit from everybody, especially your grandma.
Oh my gosh.
She talked about the soup every time we saw her since then.
She wants the recipe. And definitely the filet, too, from Le Cellier. That was delicious. I love that. We always go to Le Cellier, and that's like the cheddar cheese soup and the filet. Like, that's my routine, and I did that at the wedding.
That's wonderful. Now, did you guys add any other events around your day, like a welcome party or a farewell party?
Not necessarily like a concrete welcome party or farewell party, but we did put together a decent itinerary starting in the week to like allow people to know when and where we'd be. Like we had a huge group end up coming to EPCOT the Thursday before. We ended up having a huge group end up at the boardwalk the night before. We hung out and just had a good time, caught up with different people that were coming in at different times during the week. And throughout the trip, so we were there for 10 days, and just off and on we were seeing every friend, family member, relative, and just making sure that we spent as much time with as many people as possible.
Oh, we also did coordinate when we tried to do Cape May Cafe.
Oh, yeah. So Easter brunch was the day after our wedding. So we booked basically immediate family. We had a 27 person reservation for Cape May Cafe, and that was something we've never done and probably will never do again.
Yeah.
Wow, they let you make a single reservation for 27 people? They didn't make you have multiple smaller ones?
It was basically, we had like 3 or 4 smaller ones that the morning of, the cast members at Cape May Cafe were fantastic, and we just kind of let them know, like, hey, we got married last night. Every single person in these 4 or 5 parties are one family. Is there any chance that we could all be within one area? And the only thing we got changed was a 15-minute delay. So like instead of 11 o'clock, it was 11:15, but then all 27 of us were able to sit together and enjoy.
Yeah, on Easter, which was impressive. I don't know. I wasn't skeptical, but I was like trying to pump the brakes like for our family and not give them expectations. But Disney really did a great job with that.
That's wonderful. Can you give my listeners a timeline of how the wedding day all fit together?
So I woke up at the beach club in the getting ready room. We stayed at beach club throughout our entire trip, but we actually had an additional room for getting ready. And it was like, I call it the Princess Diana suite. Like it was a beach club though. It was huge. It was 2 bedrooms. We had club level access. I felt like literally a princess. So I woke up there with Lou's little sister, Jenna, and we went up to the lounge and just like ate breakfast like royalty. And then hair and makeup. Oh, we had Stacey Otto do our hair and makeup. Love her so much. Love all them. Best people ever. Like, oh my God. So Jen and I woke up at probably 7:30. Stacey came to our room at 8:30. And I think Jenna got started right away. And then girls started filtering in. So we had a lot of people get hair and makeup done. I believe it ended up being 22 girls and women. Like between bridal party, a couple of my aunts wanted to, grandparents. So we started getting ready around 9 o'clock. And then I think we did a first look at Beach Club. So who showed up first? Oh, Kim showed up first for a videographer. So Heart Happy showed up around noonish. And she took videos of all of our details. And then Nate showed up around 1-ish and took pictures of things. And then we did we had cute matching pajamas. So we took pictures in our pajamas around 2-ish. And then I think we did our first look, at like 3:15?
Yes.
I think it was that. Because I think it was originally 3:30, but we were like done early, which is like, I feel like unheard of. They kept saying it was unheard of. So we did our first look at 3:15 in like a courtyard of Beach Club. And then we just kind of got rolling. And we were done super early with our pictures too. What time did we get done? We were supposed to be done, I think, at 5:30. We were done at 5. Yeah. So then they just kept taking more and more pictures, which was awesome.
My morning was, not to brag, but I guess I have a lot less to do as the groom. So I was able to sleep in a little bit. My parents were staying at Boardwalk. So I stayed with them the night before and got up, was able to stroll the boardwalk a little bit, got breakfast, and I guess in typical groom's fashion, I floated in the lazy river on Stormalong Bay until about 12 o'clock. And then met my groomsmen, and a couple of my good friends came, and we started to get ready around 12:30, where we just hung out, had a good time, and got ready as quickly and as last-minutely as possible.
So then, where does that bring us? Then we were at 5:30. So we finished our pictures. So we did all of our pictures beforehand, which was great. So, I mean, I really wasn't particularly worried about like family or obviously the bridal party seeing us like as the bride and groom. So we only had 2 coach buses. We had one bus, which was all of the people that were photographed before the wedding arrive at Beach Club. So then we all got on that bus, and then we had the rest of the gang, the other 50 people, get on a bus at the Swan. And then we arrived at GM Lounge around probably 6:15. And our ceremony started at 7. Everything went very smoothly time-wise. I mean, I'm trying to think, like, we had extra time. We sat on the bus for a while, for about 15 minutes before we went into GM Lounge. Then we went in. The violin, remember the violin guy? He was taking requests. He was playing whatever song we wanted. That was awesome. So then we had our ceremony at 7. That was probably, 20 minutes?
Yeah, I would say 20
it wasn't very long. did our ceremony, wrapped up, took a couple pictures. Then we got back on the bus at 8 o'clock, and we went around backstage to the UK entrance of EPCOT, and we walked out from the bus from the UK to the France island, which was so cool. You're breathing heavy because you're excited.
A lot of people have sat and asked us what was the most surreal moment, and obviously we had everything about it was amazing. But we get off the bus, and the first half was already at the cocktail hour location, and one of the cast members looked at Madison and I, and not knowing us, obviously, our personalities are way different. I'm outgoing, over the top. I love attention. Madison usually does not. So the cast member looked at us and said, hey, we can go this two ways. We can either get there as quiet and as blended in as possible, or we can get rowdy and have all of EPCOT cheer you on as you walk in. And thankfully, and to my surprise, Madison took the excited over-the-top route, and we felt like the king and queen of England. Every stranger was clapping, cheering. Our bridal party, our family members, everyone was just going over the top, and it made for the coolest entrance possible.
Yeah, it was really cool. So we did that little walk, and that was very exciting. So we did that. Then we did our cocktail hour, which was technically, I believe, scheduled 8 to 9:30. We ended up getting there, I think, technically 8:15-ish. So we did our cocktail hour. Fireworks were at 9. And then I think we sat there for about 10-ish minutes after the fireworks, and then we walked to America from France, which that also was awesome because I really wanted to walk in the park, just have that you guys are here in Disney with us and we're walking in the parks, but it's our wedding kind of feel. So we got into American Adventure Rotunda at 9:30. I think it was 9:30 at that point. And then we had our reception, which was 9:30 to 1:30 in the morning. And it sounds like it was super long, but it literally was 5 seconds. Everybody agreed that they thought it would be a really long night, and it just felt like 2 minutes, and it was done. It was crazy.
When you guys were planning, what were some of the most important aspects of the event where you focused your attention or your budget?
I would think both of us kind of agree that we kind of met in the middle on all things. We wanted to make sure we gave the full Disney experience, but also we're both, I would say, conscious with how we spend money. We try not to go over the top too often. That's neither of our personalities. So I think that's what kept us, I guess, grounded per se in making some decisions that obviously led to a great night, but also we weren't being floated in on a newly designed magic carpet or anything.
Well, I guess that also, so this is a two-part thing from what I remember. So what did we really prioritize? Well, I would say when we decided on Disney, we wanted to make it worth it for our guests, which is crazy because it's Disney in my mind. Everything's worth it. But in the park feel was our priority. So at first we were exploring every avenue of being in the park. We love EPCOT and we love Hollywood Studios. So we looked at a lot of Hollywood Studios options for ceremonies and receptions. But the timing was just crazy hours for our opinion. I think they're awesome. Everybody that does that, I honestly give them kudos because I feel like an old lady. I could never do a late night or early morning like that. So we wanted to prioritize that park feel, but then kind of meet in the middle too with more reasonable, I guess you could say, time frames. So we prioritized a traditional wedding format, time frames and ceremony and all of that, but then making sure it was in the Disney parks.
Got it. Okay. Were there aspects that were less important where you saved your money or just your effort?
Oh, absolutely. So being in the park, you get that shock value of you walk in the ceremony space and you see Spaceship Earth, or you're in the cocktail hour and you're watching the fireworks. We weren't necessarily prioritizing decor for one, because we thought everything is grand around us. We don't need to spruce it up anymore. It looks amazing as is. So we saved money on decor. We did as minimal as possible. And same goes with floral, honestly. We had a really, really big floral budget at first. And I just felt like it wasn't necessary because the spaces that we were in didn't need that. The GM lounge specifically, because I had a lot more decor at first regarding floral and, accessories regarding floral and other things that are included in the floral package. And I decided to cut a lot of it back because like the view itself just speaks for it alone. Nobody was looking at the details. And after the wedding, I confirmed with everybody, nobody was looking at the details. They were looking at us, Spaceship Earth, all the people in our wedding. So definitely floral and generally decor were things that we weren't that concerned about.
Got it. Okay. So what ended up being each of your favorite memory of the wedding day?
Me specifically, I don't want to be corny, but like seeing you, like knowing that you're my future and like I'm looking at you, Lou. I know, but seeing you like in, you're my husband, like that day, seeing you in that environment, like getting to watch the fireworks with you and, saying our vows in front of Spaceship Earth, like those moments of like looking back and looking at you in the moment, I would say are like kind of generally my favorites.
I'm blushing over here. Let's start with that.
I know,
like,
I never
that was
that.
That was nice. I guess I'll go two. One that is about us and one that might come off about me.
Oh my God.
One, we got our cocktail hour basically was our entire family, our entire wedding, watching us take pictures in front of Illuminous, which before ever choosing to get married there, it ends up being like it's so much about love and connection and being together. The main song is literally "You Are a Part of Me." It was mind-boggling for us, and a lot of people were even like, "Did you guys like have that design for you?" We're like, "No, that just happened to be it." Like, it could have been so many different things, and that ended up being the fireworks show, which was amazing. And I guess the funny one that I'm never gonna probably forget is our DJ Steve ended up doing this whole lip sync battle thing, and Madison came out. They like gave her the grand entry. She sang "Part of Your World," and I was like, "All right, boys." We huddled up, and I was like, "I'm singing A Whole New World," and that chair is being my magic carpet. And they carried me around the dance floor, and as I floated as Aladdin singing "A Whole New World," and I never felt more like a celebrity. I don't know how I've recovered since.
That's awesome.
Oh my God. All right. So I guess my favorite parts definitely were the fireworks. Just doing like watching them together alone. Like I felt like that was like our one moment of like, this is us. Like this is our future. Like you kind of said earlier, everybody was watching us, but in my mind I was like, okay, this is like our time of just you and me able to watch the fireworks together. And then also when Mickey and Minnie came out, because hello, I was so starstruck. I love them so much. I was so excited. That was great. I got to dance with them. It was great.
That's wonderful. Now, did anything go wrong or just not turn out like you expected?
Our cocktail hour, we had a ton of food, which was, it sounds like an oxymoron that could go wrong. But our families both told us after the wedding that they ate so much at cocktail hour that they barely ate at the reception. And we had kind of mentally planned before that we wanted to do cocktail hour. We knew that was going to happen, but then go right to the reception and do like our first dances, do our dances with our parents, do the toast, and then have everybody eat, which is, I don't know if that's technically backwards, but that was like our mindset. And the day of, I know you pointed it out, I wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah, and that ended up getting switched around, which in hindsight, everything still went great.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we're even trying to find something that even went wrong is because in reality it went so well. But that led to just like what it felt like cocktail hour and dinner were like so close to one another that I feel like even us, like I know I'm a big eater, but like we didn't get to enjoy our dinner too much.
Okay. And then was there anything that seemed like a big deal beforehand or you were worried about and it turned out not to be?
Yes, definitely. So one thing that did stand out to me that I was super worried about were the older members of our families walking from France to America. We thought, number one, it was going to be super crowded because you think when the fireworks, are finished at EPCOT, it's just a mob of people leaving the park, and we were going in the opposite direction. So I was worried that they were going to have a hard time. It was going to take a while to get there, and it was not even an issue. Everybody was fine.
Yeah.
All of our grandparents, all of the older family members, they had no problems, which was great.
Wonderful. Is there anything you would have done differently knowing what you know now?
I guess, yeah. Just the only thing that we did was, I guess I'll take blame for this a little bit, is when we were picking a DJ, My brother's a DJ himself, and that's what he does for a living. So I think I overwhelmed the crap out of our DJ by giving him like this entire list of like, let's say 150 songs, and was like, hey, like if you don't get to these, I understand. And in reality, I probably should have just said, here's X, Y, and Z that are musts, and then you do your job. Because then I feel like what were our musts got lost in the shuffle just because I gave so much, which I'll take blame for.
Yeah, because he was awesome otherwise.
Yeah, that's a really good point, that maybe you need to focus your do not play or do play lists a little bit, because the DJs are professionals and part of their job is knowing what to play.
Exactly.
Now, do you guys have any other tips or advice for future Disney couples?
Use every vendor that we had because they were awesome. That would be my first thing. My second thing is I don't even consider myself to be like great, like bride, like so to speak. That was like the joke, the ongoing joke this past year was that I'm not like the bridal type. Like my cousin jokes and calls me a rat bride. Like I want to hide and not plan things and just hope things go well and just kind of sit in the back. But I learned later on in the process of planning with Disney is that approach doesn't work. You can't just say, sure, I like this, or sure, make it look nice, because they can't read your mind. Again, kind of like with the DJ. It's better to give Disney direction and to show them things, and absolutely listen to this podcast because I did and it taught me so much. And also look at your website because your website was so helpful with everything. Give Disney, stuff like that, and then they'll work from that alone. I don't want to give them like leverage to do whatever they want because it's not their wedding technically. So that would be the big thing I would say is definitely go in with a plan and tell Disney what you want rather than what you think you would like.
Yeah, honestly, I think I'm pretty good on this one. Happy wife, happy life. Is that an obvious tip?
Well, Maddie and Lou, I think you've offered a lot of great tips and advice for anyone who's interested in getting married or having a vow renewal at Walt Disney World, and I appreciate your taking the time.
Thank you so much for having us.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
That's our show for today. I'm your host, Carrie Hayward, inviting you to join me again next week for another episode of the Disney Wedding Podcast. Past shows and tons of photos for each episode are available on my website, DisneyWeddingPodcast.com. or listen in your favorite podcast app. And for instant answers to all your Walt Disney World wedding questions, check out Carrie Hayward's Fairy Tale Weddings Guide, available as an interactive ebook with continual free updates at fairytaleweddingsguide.com.